Thanks for tuning in to Ascension 17 with Cynthia Clark, love and ascension coach, author, and healer. This show is to empower starseeds to ascend and become their infinite light. We'll be discussing all sorts of spiritual topics for your vibrational nourishment. This podcast is sponsored by Ascension17.com, the place to find ascension tools and community. Hi there, beautiful beings of light, and welcome to Ascension 17, the show where we will be talking about all things related to ascension. So let's start out with a little tone. Take a deep breath in. Go ahead and exhale. I'm Cynthia Clark. I'm your love and ascension coach, and I am going to be talking about ascension tools today. So ascension tools they make life so fun and interesting, don't they? That's really what I want to point out, is that we are not here just to be serious and stubborn and, grumbly, right? We're actually here to be playful and have fun on our pathway of ascension, which of course has to do with our soul's evolution. And that means that we get to bring in a little magic into our lives. So you may be wondering about ascension, and I've talked about this in a previous episode, that we do have different steps to ascension, including discovering yourself and learning your lessons and embodying your exalted self. And there are some tools that I really want to point out that can help you with these particular steps, which is so important, because we want the pathway to be joyful and fun, but it's not always like that, right? If it were, then we'd probably have a lot more people around. Because the souls, there's only so many people that are in human form at any one given time. But imagine the infinite number of souls out there. And if it were all fun and games, then everybody would be jumping at the chance to be a human. But we know that's not true. So there's a lot of challenges that come through, and a lot of pain and struggle that comes through with embodying a human body in a lifetime. So I am here to assist you in making that pathway easier and more playful and fun. And you may be asking, well, why do we have tools, or why do we have so many tools? It's actually quite common for me to have somebody who will come up to me and say, oh, have you checked this out? Have you heard about this latest healing modality, or the latest tool of learning? And I oftentimes will check them out. I'm one of those people who's very curious, and I'm not afraid to explore new topics that I know nothing about. That's how I got started in palmistry. I went to the library one day and I just randomly picked up a book on palmistry, and I ended up having a very profound deja vu experience where I felt like I had studied the material before. So that got me on the pathway of palmistry, and I ended up working with over 7,000 people and reading their palms over the last 12 years or so. And I also published a book called Stories in Your Hands, Discover Your Authentic Destiny Using Palmistry and Tarot. And this book was about a 3-year project for me. I had actually written an entire manuscript, and this tells you how the struggle really happens, right? Things are not just all fun and games all the time, even when you think that they're going to be. But I had finished an entire manuscript, and then I chucked it because it just it wasn't right. And then I got inspiration about the book that I ended up publishing through meditation. And meditation is definitely one of the Ascension tools that I highly recommend people start doing on a regular basis. For me, meditation is non-negotiable. I do it every single day, almost every single day without fail, and I make it a priority in my life. I actually schedule time to do meditation. And for all you fire hands out there, and trust me, I know because I am a fire hand. And you have a fire hand if you have short fingers and a rectangular palm. You may think that it is too difficult to meditate, and I'm here to tell you that there is more than one way to meditate. I actually practice a form of meditation that I simply call active meditation. So here's what a typical meditation would look like for me, okay? I would light a candle because you want to set up a sacred space. You want to have an actual place where you go to meditate every day. You want that place to be peaceful and calm and quiet. For me, it is in my bedroom. I've got a beautiful little space set up just in my bedroom, and I've got a fountain that runs behind my chair. It's one of those wall fountains, so it's got a little light on it, and it has running water. It's really beautiful, very peaceful. I'll have to show it to you guys sometime. I'll show you my meditation space. And then I light the candle and I sit down, and I don't just sit down with nothing. I sit down very intentional. For example, today I am wearing a crystal called sugilite. So I often will pull a card of the day in the morning, one of my tarot cards, and I've got a couple of different crystal decks. And so I'll just pose the question, what crystal wants to work with me today? And today I pulled sugilite, so that's why I have this sugilite necklace. And sugilite is really good for tapping into the inner child, which sometimes, again, when we're too serious, we need to lighten up a little bit. So it's a really good one for tapping into that energy. So, okay, so then I also have a notebook that I bring over to my meditation space, and I always have a pen. And oftentimes I will analyze my dream from the night before. Okay, so occasionally I will have a night where I don't remember my dreams, but again, we can get into that in a future episode, because there are ways that you can more easily remember your dreams. And that's another Ascension tool, because your dreams help you open up to your higher self. They literally are messages coming to you in a dream language to assist you in your life. Now, some people do get prophecy dreams, which are going to be more planetary based, or you might get a vision of the future in some way. That happens occasionally, but most of the time, your dreams are just to help you day to day. And everything in the dream is actually you, and it's representing a different part of yourself. Even if there's a character in the dream who is not you, what you need to look at is, who is this person? Is it male or female? And so that would be the male side of yourself or the female side of yourself. And then when was this person in your life? It's going to take you to the place in your life that you need to be aware of and pay attention to. So sometimes you'll get information about your past that you need to heal. And again, this is all about the lessons that we're learning, right? We sometimes will put lessons on the shelf. We don't live in a linear world where it's like, okay, I'm going to solve this lesson today, and then I'm moving on to this lesson tomorrow. A lot of times there's this huge overlap, right? And we may put a lesson aside, especially if it's a life lesson, it's going to come around over and over again. And our dreams will come up to give us information to, hey, I need to pay attention to this. And it wants me to go back to this time in my life, what was going on at this time in my life, and then pay attention to what the dream is telling you. And you can decipher a lot of fun stuff. So we'll be going through some dreams. I'm sure I'll go through several episodes on that. And of course, if you have any dreams that you want me to look at, then I highly recommend you join my membership called the Sphere of Infinite Light, because that's what we're all about, is growing and ascending and learning our lessons. So if you go to ascension17.com, you can find out all about my membership. So, okay, so back to the meditation. I will have my notebook next to me. I may go through the dream. So I have a dream journal that I keep by my bedside. And as soon as I wake up, I will write it down. And then occasionally I'll get information that I need to be aware of. So when I go into meditation, I close my eyes, I just relax. And sometimes I'll even write out a question. So for example, if I'm not sure what the dream is trying to tell me, or if I need clarification, I'll just ask, or sometimes I'll ask a very open-ended, what do I need to be aware of today? And that's always a good question to ask, because it opens the doorway for the universe to bring in the answers that are most important. You may think you know what's most important, but oftentimes the universe has something completely different in mind for you. And it's good to just say, oh, okay, I need to pay attention to this today. And I haven't thought about this in maybe even years. Okay, so when you start to have a dialogue in meditation with the universe, with your higher self, you can also call on angels or archangels or just your spiritual team, whoever it is. Maybe you want to connect to Jesus, or some of the other ascended masters, maybe Buddha, or maybe you want to connect to an archetype, like the chariot in the hands. There's the 22 archetypes that you can talk to. For example, I got the Temperance card today, and that's one of the archetypes about finding the middle ground, what works. So meditation can be a lot more dynamic than you might think. So yeah, you can definitely go into your breath. I mean, that's very important. Your breath is your lifeblood of what keeps you alive on the planet. So you need to be able to breathe in and breathe out, and it focuses your attention inward too, right? Which is what meditation is all about. Instead of, okay, I'm focusing on all these external things. No, we bring it in. We bring it centered. I mean, just the act of taking a deep breath, it gives you oxygen, which your body needs. And so that's going to feed your brain, and it's going to make your meditation easier. So that's one of my favorite Ascension tools for sure. But Palmistry is another one, of course, because that's something I've been doing for so very long. And I even created a deck called the Palmistry Inspiration Cards. I did these all the way back in 2012, before I even started reading tarot cards. And I was working in Salt Lake City out of a metaphysical store, and I would set up my table next to the tarot display. And I remember one day I just turned to the display, and I randomly thought, I wonder if there's any palmistry decks out there. And I started doing some research on it, and then I got one of those intuitive hits No, you need to create one. So I did, and what came out was a deck of 54 cards that I ended up using uh, not only to teach people about palmistry, but also to use as an oracle deck. So, an oracle deck is simply like any tarot deck, it's used to get answers from our higher self. We're seeking connection to the universe, and the energy of the cards actually can come through and guide us, almost like, again, like a meditation, like a dialogue. So let's do one for you. All those of you who are listening today, this will be kind of fun. And by the way, if you want to join me ever in my live streams, go to my YouTube channel. If you're already watching this on my YouTube channel, check out the next live stream, and you can participate. And we'll do some fun cards. We'll do some fun palmistry stuff. It's going to be, live. So you'll be able to chat with me and everything. It'll be really fun. So I hope you will join me over there. Okay, so the card coming up is Luna. Okay, Luna is a section of your hand, and it says the card's message is seek the deeper meaning. Okay, so Luna represents your subconscious. It represents your shadow side. It's the opposite of Apollo, right? Luna. Apollo is the sun, Luna is the moon. It's located here in this part of your hand. So it's opposite the thumb, and it's very low down on the hand. It's a mount, which means that it is a puffy protrusion off of your palm. And mounts are important because if you relax your hand and you kind of look at it sideways, it will show the amount of puffiness. And the more puffy the mount, the more available energy you have for that mount. Okay, so that's all I really want to show you today on Luna, is just see how much Luna energy you have. And Luna represents your ability to tap into your intuition. Okay, so this is one of the areas that we look for to see how intuitive you are, is do you have puffiness here, or is it depleted? For example, if it's depleted, it will be droopy, it will be flat, or it will be reddish in color, indicating that it's stressed out and it's wanting to, red indicates that it wants to build in more power into the area that's red. It's the hand is seeking more power in that area. So you will often see red in Luna in people who, for example, are taking care of somebody long term, and like my mom did for my dad. For 7 years, she took care of my dad, and her poor Luna, it was red, and I would expect that. So I've seen that on a lot of people who just they're those caregiver people, and they're stuck in that role, and they don't really want to be, but that's part of their pathway. So palmistry, that's what I love about palmistry so much, is it's such a beautiful tool to help you understand yourself at a deeper level. And you can also further take that into what I call quantum palmistry, and this is sort of a new branch, or maybe just a new way of looking at palmistry. And it's taking the information from your hands to actually guide you in the ascension process. So the more we learn about our Luna, the more we can understand, okay, what is it trying to tell me so that I can grow and evolve? What is it trying to tell me that I need to tap into? What is the shadow side of myself? What is blocked or what is open? And then how do I use that information to ascend? So that's something I recommend. And then, of course, we've got our regular tarot deck, which is another, this one is called the Golden Tarot. This is one of my favorite decks. I have about 50 decks, by the way. So if you ever work with me, I may pull out different decks just depending on what I feel you need. But let's just pull a Golden Tarot deck and just see what message wants to come out to assist you today. And tarot, of course, has been around a long time as well, many hundreds of years, at least since the 1300s. And this tarot deck consists of 78 cards, so the difference between an oracle deck and a tarot deck is usually the number of cards, and also what the cards represent. So my Palmistry deck, for example, is just a regular oracle deck because it's not 78 cards, whereas a tarot deck always has 78 cards. And that's what makes it a tarot deck. Okay, so the message coming in is the inverted Page of Swords. Now, I'm kind of glad an inverted card came in because I also do read cards that are upside down. Okay, so a card can, when you're shuffling, you can have a card that comes out upright, or you can have a card that comes out inverted or upside down. And some people actually don't read inverted cards, but I am one of those people who do, because I feel like you're missing some nuances if you only read cards upright. And the inverted can also indicate that something is lacking or the opposite of the uprighted version. So you can tell if it's something that you really need to work on. The Page of Swords has to do with news, okay? So getting sudden news, and usually when it's inverted, it can represent bad news. Okay, so bad news, of course, is simply a perception of news, right? Because we need to start thinking in terms of the universe is actually here to assist me in all ways. The universe is benevolent. The universe is loving. So when we receive bad news, sometimes we think, oh, this is horrible. What am I going to do now? But what it's actually doing, you need to reframe it and go, okay, maybe I'm looking at this the wrong way, or maybe there is something better that is going to come out of this. And ultimately, that's really what the universe wants for you. It's like, yeah, sometimes we have to go through difficulties, right? Those are the life lessons. That's all part of Ascension. We all have to go through. But when we learn those lessons, we don't have to repeat them, right? We don't have to repeat them over and over again. So it's very, very important to pay attention to what is the lesson that's right in front of my face right now. And if I'm perceiving it as something bad, what can I do to learn what I need to learn so that I don't have to repeat it? So that's really what the inverted Page of Swords is trying to tell you. So other Ascension tools include any kind of tool that helps you learn more about yourself. For example, numerology, astrology. We'll definitely be getting into Chinese astrology, human design, the Enneagram. We'll be exploring all sorts of these tools that they all are designed in a way to help you understand yourself. And once you understand yourself, then you can be that authentic version of yourself. And what comes through is a natural co-creation. So you naturally know what you're here for. You're on purpose. You're joyful. You're tapping into those higher and higher states of love and bliss. And ultimately, that's what we're here for, and that's what Ascension is all about. So thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. And I want you to remember that you are the infinite light of the universe, and you are deeply loved as well. So have a beautiful day, and I can't wait to connect with you again very soon. Thanks for listening to Ascension 17. Please rate, review, and subscribe to show your support. Have a question for Cynthia? Just post a comment. This podcast is sponsored by Ascension17.com, the place that empowers starseeds to ascend and become their infinite light. Want to discover the most important step in Ascension and how to take it? Sign up for free at Ascension17.com.